Alright guys, a new update on the price of Bitcoin. I didn't plan actually to make it, but I would like to share with you some data which I saw on Twitter from Ki Yong-ju. He's working in CryptoQuant. They analyze the price action of Bitcoin and crypto assets by using the on-chain analysis. So here is the one of the posts from September this year, which we also looked at. If you remember, the idea is that we have kind of huge positions of traders, of holders, or if you call them whales, on exchanges, and the position of those huge holders either goes up or down. Meaning that at some point they might want to sell their Bitcoin, and on the other hand, they might want to hold until they see some better price. So in September, just before the rise from $10,000, when we saw this beautiful rally, we had this very, very low number for this metrics, and Ki Yong-ju said that, okay, we have this whale ratio, exchange whale ratio year low, and it means that probably long term we have the bullish case. So we must say that he was right. We had a massive rise in the price. So what is happening now? He makes this update. Basically what he's saying, okay, the exchange whale ratio is all-time highs or like certain local highs, meaning that we might see the drop in the price. Yes, we see this drop. If it is at the very low value, then we might expect the rise in price. Yes, we see those rises. What he's saying now that currently the value of this metric is relatively low, meaning that again, long-term bullish is inevitable. Well, it's hard to disagree with him, and he has a point. What I would like to add to that is, although exactly like very high values, very low values are indicating certain potential of the price going one way or another, they don't explicitly show the change reversal point. Like it doesn't, this point doesn't show that the change of the trend here, and this point doesn't show the change of this trend. So from the downside to the upside, we can't judge where this where when this happens. The same is for this high, for example. So this point was before that. And how about the metrics? The metrics was still pretty low, meaning that it actually doesn't show us exactly when the price will start to decline. So even though the value of this metric is very low, still the same situation. Pretty much, if you compare these two cases, this point was pretty low, but the number, the price was very high. So I would say that with pretty much same probability, we might expect the similar situation as we had in 2019. Now, of course, this is not the like a certainty here, and we don't have very huge statistics at all. It's just one coincidence. But I mean, there is we can't just say that it cannot happen, that we now go to 20K or like 50K or whatever without massive corrections. But instead, it's very likely that we might see something similar that which we had in a previous case in 2019. That I think is very important, so that I wanted to show you and point out as well. And also in terms of the price action, some considerations. So you know that our indicators are very high. Of course, we made this beautiful rally. So on a weekly time frame, we have this RSI on the level of in the overbought area, and stochastic RSI is basically at the very like at the maximum point, and this is the bearish crossover almost occurred, and usually after that we see the correction. For example, here it was a correction, here it was the decline. here it was decline, and so on. But someone would say that, okay, we actually had a very high position here, and 50% price rise happened after that. The stochastic RSI was very high and could be very high for a long time, and we are actually having the bull run at that point. So it doesn't mean much. Well, I actually think that it does mean a lot. For example, if you compare again this case and this case, we had the accumulation, very low volatility period for a while before we started to have this rise. And when the stochastic actually had this crossover, the RSI value was very low, and it's slowly increasing its value until we hit this 14K. Instead, here we actually have the bull trend from March. From March, almost for a year, we have the price rising with the biggest correction of 20 or around 20%. That's bonkers, that's nuts. And we have that overbought situation, which is like a true overbought. I would say it's very similar to what we had in 2016 and 17, when, yeah, we had this rising trend, and both for example, this stochastic RSI and RSI were very high at this point, and yeah, we had this correction. And don't be tricked by its value. It's actually like 30 to 40% because it's a logarithmic chart. So again, every time when we had, and not only at that point, like even here, but of course there was accumulation before that, so let's look at those points. Every time when we hit relatively high value on RSI and having the stochastic RSI or just stochastic having a bearish crossover, we had those corrections over and over and over again. So I don't see that statistically we can say that we have a higher chance avoiding that instead of actually having it. So I think we will most likely have this correction. It's just not clear when and until which point price will go before we will have that correction. And now short term, guys, I must say one thing. We're actually in a very, very important point as well. Here we have this ascending wedge, ascending broadening wedge or broadening formation, the same as we had here. So we had it actually here, two broadening formations. Price went above the resistance, the upper limit of this formation already, and now it is testing it from the top. We have the even broader formation with this purple line. It has 1, 2, 3 points here, and with this kind of correction of the recent preceded growth, we have the correction. This correction going to 23.6 degrees Fibonacci retracement. So a lot of matching of the levels of lines of resistance support is happening here. And finally, this is preceded trend, right? And this is small kind of a descending triangle. Well, currently it is not descending yet. It is almost symmetrical, but I think it's very likely to be transformed into the descending one. And if it's just a symmetrical triangle, then we are more likely to see it breaking to the upside. But considering the absence of the corrections before, I would say that it's again very, very uncertain situation, so it might be broken to the downside instead. So should be very careful about it right now. Moreover, by the way, we are having the green 9 by TD sequential just right now on a daily time frame. Yes, it doesn't always play out on a bull trend, but still it should be taken cautiously, I think. Moreover, we have, I think, weekly 8, green 8, which is also quite of the dangerous situation for the growth, which again coincides with things which I told about the situation being overbought over here. So I'm not calling this a top yet, because again it's a flying knife and we don't know when it stops flying. But the only thing which I'm saying is just we should be very cautious about this right now. So finally, guys, I just want to point out those indicators. about which I was telling you in the last video. I showed you the one already, and here is another one which is called Pythagore BTC. So you see it gives you the signals for going long and short. Even from this brief view, you can see that basically it catches the lows and highs relatively well. So pretty much every time when we have this correction, it suggests us to accumulate and then go short after we're reaching some local high. And actually right now it's also showing us this strong short signal. There's another one which allows you to trade Ethereum to Bitcoin, and again you can see how the signals are placed. For example, here it was buy, then it was sell over here, now it's holding. Still suggests you to hold the short from this pair. So pretty well. Again, if you want to get one of those or the one which I mentioned in the previous video, just send me a message on Telegram. I will make sure that you'll get a discount from my friend who is making those indicators. Alright guys, that is pretty much it for today. So I hope that it was somehow useful, and as always I will keep you updated. Thank you very much for watching, and safe trading. Goodbye.